G'day and welcome to my garage. This is the pattern for the permanent work table. So the tables, top of the table strips will bolt down, screw down to these two ribs here. The reason I'm extending this down here is, if you recall, when I was machining the angle, the large aluminium angle for this Gingery Milling Machine project, I mentioned that at the end of the travel of the temporary work table, there was a fair amount of flex in that work table once it left the support of what was essentially this piece here, which on the temporary work table is made up of those raised sections are 12 millimeters, 12 by 12 square bar, those two, and then the 25 by 10 screwed to the top of that, and then all of that was then screwed to the 19-inch, can't remember how many millimeters that is, the 19-inch bed way. Well, this is to replace the 12 by 12 12 by 12 work table risers. This replaces that, but the problem will still remain that after the back end of this 300mm 305 or 12-inch piece, the 19-inch is still, it's not 7 inches because there's a couple of inches hanging out the other end. The last, what have I got here, 4 inches, 100mm, will still be just the 3-inch, 3 by quarter-inch way, unsupported. So this is going on to support the end of the way. I can't see this interfering with anything at the present moment. I'll cast it up. Oh, is my casting box long enough now? I think it might be. But I'll cast this up. If it gets in the way, I just have to hacksaw it off, that's all. We'll see how it goes. Better to put it on now than not at all. Alright, catch you later. I've tried casting the base twice now, and yeah, twice I had two different failures. First one, this came out of the sand, difficult but at least recoverable. No, that was the first time. Came out, I could recover when I brought it out of the sand. The only problem was the cope. When I went to flip it up on its side, the sand came out of the moulding box. It's a pretty big mould. It's a long mould, that's the problem. And there's about 16 kilos of green sand, 8 kilos each. So second time I kept myself away from that happening, but then I had trouble getting the pattern out of the sand, moulding sand. Just thought I'll fix you. I've put 3.5 degrees taper on the ends. They weren't so much of a problem, and down the sides. So I'm just being plywood. When I remember to do it, I like to fill in the grain, because that becomes a problem too. So tomorrow I'll give it a third try. Can't be tonight. This has got to dry, and then the silver paint's got to dry. This is just a water-based wood filler called Timber Mate. I don't know where it's made. Oh, it looks like here in Australia. We do make something in Australia. Anyhow, I like it. Works quick, so easy to work with. Dries out a little bit, you just put a bit of water with it, a bit of spit. Okay, this will take a little bit of time to dry because it's light rain today. Hasn't been. Temperature is low. It is the end of our winter, and no, it's not always 35-40 degrees Celsius, but we rarely go below zero. So I'm not complaining. Don't know how you can handle it. Those below zero temperatures, that gets me. All right, catch you later. Okay, this is the third attempt to do this moulding. Okay, we'll see if we can manage to split this without doing damage, because there is an awful lot of sand in this. I think I may have made these gates a little bit deep, but at least I'll have plenty of sand. Sand. Plenty of metal feeding the pattern, that's for sure. All right. Yeah. One of the previous failures was when I lifted this, the whole lot came up. The box came up and the sand stayed behind. So we need to clear this. Right, we'll see if we can get this back together for this third attempt. Righto, let's come around to the mould. Should be good. Okay, let's see how that goes. That's a beautiful surface. That's a good surface. That's a good surface. Well, turned out really nice. The only thing is the slight depression there, but that won't be a problem. It's only over a small area, just there. Why do I get that? I put two risers on to make sure I didn't get that. Well, up here anyhow. That was my previous experience. maybe I needed another riser here. I don't know. But I'm very, very happy with that. That came out very nice. Good. I'll let that cool down and go and see what my wife's up to. Well, here we have the base for the permanent work table. Just cutting off the sprues and the riser and the sprue, and getting it ready, cleaning off all the flashing, and getting it ready for milling. So back to the hard work. It's not too hard with the aluminium. Okay, I will continue to file the flashing off these, get it nice and clean. It's a long way in. Still more to go because there's fairly thick housing there. So I'll finish it off in the vise. Too much hard work this way. Okay. Now, you don't need to be bored with what I'm doing. I'll come back later. Well, that was running at 1,325 RPM. That's high speed, its highest speed. I can't remove material, much material at that speed with this fly cutter, but I'm after a better surface finish. It hasn't been real crash hot, but I've tightened up the carriage gibs. There's two of those, the sliding table and the ways gibs. Tightened up the head gibs. I'm still getting a terrible finish. I don't know what's causing it, but I'm not real happy with it, that's for sure. I just realised I didn't have the head tightened up. So we'll try it again. Yeah, I've had a bit of problems. Anyhow, catch you later. This this permanent work table bed, I extended it from there out to cover the full length, or nearly the full length of the work table slide. Did that because on the end of the travel, when you start getting out to one end, let's see, and this end of the slide is in the carriage, and this is all hanging out towards me. There's a fair bit of okay. There's a fair bit of flex in the 75 by 6mm plate. Not happy with that at all. It is on the outer edges of where you're working, but still, there's only a little bit more aluminium. If it gets in the way, I don't think it will, but if it gets in the way, I chop it off. But this is the surface that came off it. I had a lot of trouble trying to get a good surface, and I still haven't got a good surface. Not totally happy with it. I had to blend that in. That's the extension part. I didn't do that fully. I can feel that now. Before I couldn't feel it. I draw filed over the length of that just to take the burrs off, and now I feel that I haven't gone there. So I want to hand scrape this whole thing. Because this is the true base for the permanent work table, this side. Once I've got this side flat, I then turn it around and machine where the ways bolt on. So it's important that this surface is right. So I'm going to put it on the granite plate, glue it up, and then hand scrape the high spots, which will be this area here to the end. Once I get that down, I can then bring the rest in. And I can't see it now, but if I put the light behind there, well, that one's not too bad there. So it's low in the middle there, and low on the ends over there, so can't work it out. I'm not fully happy with the machine, with the gingery mill at the present moment. Although I am working it on its extreme limits, probably a little bit further than it's where it's going, where it should be going. I did do a little bit of milling to do the keyway in the water pump, and I was really happy with it, with that. So small stuff, it'll be good for. But on the larger pieces, and look, this is a large piece. That work area is 12 inches long, 300mm, and it's a little hobby machine sitting on a bench. I can 2 bolts, and I can throw it in the back of the car and go away on holidays with it. It is only a hobby machine, so I'm not going to ask too much of it. I would have preferred a slightly better finish, and some of that also is to do with the grind I've got on the cutting tool in the fly cutter. I changed that a fair bit. This last bit here is probably the best. That was my last change to the grind. I think I've got the grind down pretty good now. So, look, I'm not going to condemn it and say it's a piece of crap. Without it, I've got nothing. With it, I know I can do some fairly good small work, and at a stretch, hey, I might have to hand scrape the big pieces to get them in right. But like I said, I'm not condemning it. It's done a good job. All right, over to the granite plate. Well, I'm going to leave it alone this time. I've got good contact area over the whole thing, just a little bit light here and right in this corner here, but everywhere else I've got contact. So, that will hold the plate nicely. I'm going to leave it alone. Spindle speed at the moment is about 678. It's in its low range and second in the drive. I don't know exactly what depth of cut, but it would have to be about the 10 to 15 thou cut. The finish today is a lot better than yesterday. On the other side. Sorry about that one. You're in the way. That noise is the backside of the fly cutter coming onto the workpiece today. Okay, for this to run nice and smooth through the carriage, these two surfaces, one underneath and this one here, have to be flat and parallel. So at the present moment I'm scraping, I've relieved the centre with the angle grinder. Now I'm scraping the two outside edges so that they're flat. Then we'll eventually turn it over and work this side down. Yeah, I know, it's a lot of work. We'll get there.